The Phoenix Urban Renewal Agency Advisory Committee meeting taking place today, November 6th, 2025, in the Phoenix Plaza Civic Center. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Muehlhofer.
Here.
Member Guthrie. Member Heron.
Here.
Member Quitt.
Here.
Member Kay.
Present.
Member Gonzalez.
Here.
And Member Volpert.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. Our first order of business is to approve our minutes from October 23rd, 2025. Have folks had a moment to review those?
Yeah, I move to approve the minutes of the Phoenix Urban Renewal Agency Advisory Committee meeting for October 23, 2025.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Muehlhofer.
Yes.
Member Quitt.
Yes.
Member Kay.
Yes.
Member Guthrie.
Yes.
Member Heron.
Yes.
Member Gonzalez.
Yes.
And Member Volpert.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. We're going to move into an executive session. The Phoenix Urban Renewal Advisory Committee of the City of Phoenix will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602E to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously noticed. No decisions will be made in executive session.
Okay, so at this time, unless you are a member of the news media, I'll have you take a seat in Canner's Corner next door. And then when we come out of executive session, we will reopen the public meeting for you all to come back in. And same thing on Zoom, unless you are a member of the news media, we are going to close our public Zoom meeting at this time and rejoin at 4:15. Will.
We don't need a roll call. That's good. Lost here.
Essentially, I just let them know that we're planning on making a couple motions that don't have anything to do with their stuff, but that they're welcome to come in and then we can organize the presenters.
Great. Well, in that case, we can. We're in open session now.
Okay.
So
Yep.
are there any motions that
Yes,
we'd like to entertain?
I would like to direct staff to withdraw the offer we have on a particular property and counter with the price that was discussed during the executive session just now.
Roll call, please.
Member Heron,
Yes.
Member Quitt,
Yes.
Mayor Muehlhofer,
Yes.
Member Guthrie. Yes. Member Kay,
Yes.
Member Gonzalez, and Member Volpert.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Do we have another motion?
Yes, Paul.
I move to direct staff to further evaluate tax incentive options for consideration of other properties.
I second that.
Roll call.
Member Kay,
Yes.
Member Gonzalez.
Yes.
Member Volpert,
Yes.
Member Heron,
Yes.
Member Guthrie. Yes. Mayor Muehlhofer,
Yes.
and Member Quitt.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. All right.
Would you like me to make sure that the three individuals listed for presentations are in our attendance, or do we know that they're all here in
I see
attendance?
Christina.
Okay.
I see Mr. Hall.
Brian Hall, are you here?
Yes.
And Henry Wicks? Perfect. Okay, just wanted to do a roll call. Christine, I saw you, and then Daniel Kavanaugh. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Very good. It is Phoenix always amazes me. I love to see people turn out for, uh, for stuff involving the city. And it's one of the things I love about this town. So thank you all for being here. Before we get started, we're going to hear three presentations tonight, or proposals. We're going to do it in, is there an order on the agenda if we were going to?
We do have an order. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to do it in that order. Before we begin, however, we need to provide an opportunity, or at least I need to provide an opportunity and acknowledgement of ex parte communication. And if others on the PHURAC committee have also communicated with associates of any of the proposals we're going to see, please let it be known for the sake of transparency and to inform the public. And in my case, just for transparency's sake, I sat in on 2 meetings with Brian Hall. I didn't provide advice, but I did learn information about his proposal. And I've met with Christina Lefevre of the Pollinator Project a couple of times, once prior to PHURAC and once in the last couple months, to discuss the specific property and hear her thoughts. And if anyone else on our committee has had similar conversations.
I sat in on one planning meeting with Brian Hall and Henry Wicks as well, and I did not provide any information or advice, but I did obviously gain information from being there.
I've disclosed previously that I've had communication with Christina Lefevre of Pollinator Project and supporter of Pollinator Project. I'm objective in my evaluation of all these proposals. I've also met with Mr. Daniel Kavanagh at his initiation, looking at setup of his business and our property, things, industrial studios. And that's it. I'm not biased for or against any of these proposals.
And I've had conversations with all 3 applicants over the years, and I'm ready to be as objective as I can as they present their proposals today.
I'll just follow. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've had conversations with Christina Lefevre before PHURAC and recently, and Daniel I've had conversations with prior to PHURAC being established. I do have a conflict of interest with Brian Hall's group, and so in a decision, I will recuse myself from that vote. Potential conflict of interest. I don't have a conflict of interest. It's potential.
I just want to mention staff recently made themselves available to all 3 parties in terms of explaining what the rules and regs are with respect to that property. And so
Right.
that happened as well.
Thank you. For our proposals or presentations, we've allocated, we're expecting 15 to 20 minutes of presentation and up to 10 minutes of questions and answers for each proposal. And our first proposal is Brian Hall and Henry Wicks. So please step on up.
And I have your 2 attachments right there on the computer. If you'd like to show, and I can put it on everyone's screens. I don't mind keeping time. Yep.
You don't want the narrative up, do you? I'm sorry, you don't want the narrative up, you just
No,
no, John's.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, we really appreciate the opportunity to present our vision for this very key parcel in the downtown core. We've tried to adhere to the city's vision and their goal. I think we put together a very experienced team. Mr. Wicks Architecture has got 30+ years design experience in retail, medical office, land planning, and community integration. Our contractor is Kyle Taylor. I think you all know Mr. Taylor. He's done some notable projects in Phoenix and Jackson County. Our concept is architecturally was intentionally aligned with the aesthetics and scale of downtown Phoenix. We and Mr. Wicks will show you how we incorporated pedestrian and bicycle connectivity to align with the Civic Center natural area concept. We have some strong, we believe, strong economic benefits for the city and the downtown core, because the site plan includes 24 on-site parking stalls, which with a shared parking arrangement with the city would be available to the downtown visitors after 6 p.m. on Tuesdays through Fridays, all day on weekends, and also all day on Mondays. The practice, the medical office building, which we're proposing, is on a 4-day work week. So it'll be something we think would be advantageous to the parking for the downtown core. The medical service that is proposed is currently unavailable in Phoenix. The doctor that will be the tenant of the building has been in Southern Oregon for, I want to say 9 years. He's in an existing practice elsewhere. Hopefully very soon we'll be able to let you know more about the practice, but right now he's in negotiations with his partners, and it's kind of sensitive until those negotiations are completed. I think key for the downtown businesses is that there'll be approximately 1,600 patients a month coming to this practice. And a lot of those people come from the Oregon coast, Bend area, Grants Pass. So there'll be a lot of visitors probably that have never, or patients, excuse me, that have never been to Phoenix before. And a lot of them will, because they come from such a long distance, will utilize the services of the various businesses in the area, from restaurants, even lodging and so forth. So we think that would be a benefit to the city. The practice will employ approximately 10 full-time personnel. The wages are strong. They'll be from 48,000 to 73,000 annually. So they'll be a good addition to the economy of Phoenix. We are ready to go. In fact, we are proposing, if we are selected, to purchase the property from the city at fair market value, which obviously we haven't started those negotiations, but we have financing committed on a preliminary basis, and we are ready to go and hopefully be under construction the first quarter of 2006. So we're very anxious to get going, and I'm going to let Henry Wicks walk you through the proposal, and if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer those after the presentation. So thank you.
Good afternoon, board members. Thank you for hearing our proposal, and thank you for donating your time and efforts and the committee that you're on. It's a worthy cause, and appreciate your time. Having sat on other boards from design review, etc. I know the pay is not all the greatest, and but time and what you do and helping with the community is admirable. Qualify myself a little bit. As Brian said, we work on a wide variety of architectural types. We don't do any public works, no schools, things like that, but everything else in between there and something less than 7 stories in height we've done over the last 30 years at Wicks Architecture on the founder. We have offices in Sonoma County and in Bexar County in Texas. I also sorry you had a fire that devastated a good chunk of your community. I'm a survivor of the Tubbs fire in 2017 in Santa Rosa that took my home out, and but I think I can lend some help and some hope in rebuilding, and hopefully we're selected to build something that'll make a nice addition to your downtown. Let me go through the slides. For those, I mean, everybody pretty much knows where the site is that's here. What we included a slide for in case somebody that wasn't familiar with the area and putting the site into context of what's going on in Phoenix with Main Street and Bear Street on the top portion, top half of the site, and showing the various community properties of City Hall to the Civic Center building where we're at now, and the site on the upper left-hand portion of the slide. This slide shows the site-specific, the 0.93 acres in question, and the grayed out area is where the city has either built or will be building parking lot area. The green area is what we propose to leave as open green space. The cross-hatched area is where we're proposing to put a parking lot to serve the medical office building, as well as a potential for sharing that with the city for after hours parking. Some basic site statistics on what we're looking at is basically a half an acre of building area, including the parking lot. 24 parking spaces, one of those of which would be a handicap accessible space. The current building height we're proposing is around 25 feet. And we've arranged on the site, which you'll see in a second, a covered bicycle parking area. This slide depicts the current condition of the site with showing the existing wetlands off-site to the right, but it also spills over onto the property, the 0.93 acre site, fairly adjacent to the entrance off of Bear Creek. That's why we picked that line, was to respect and leave that open green space where the wetlands are overlapping. And that's further depicted by this graphic that is from the Civic Center Natural Area Concept Plan. And it clearly shows where the wetlands, general wetland area overlaps the site we're interested in. This shows an overall site plan with, again, with the existing green space, wetlands that we would leave in place, the parking lot area, and our new building footprint. The public parking that the city is in the middle of designing, and federal funds are available to build that parking lot between the proposed building and the Cheesecake building, I believe is what it's referred to, on the corner of 4th and Main Street. Zach from planning has showed us those plans, and we're trying to integrate our plan into what they've developed so far for the parking lot. This graphic shows what we've designed for the doctor and his practice and the other support staff that he will employ. Large reception area for waiting up to 20 people, 8 exam rooms, offices, and support areas. And finally, my last graphic is the exterior elevations. We've done contemporary farmhouse craftsman style is what we've selected. This is an early on sketch. And we'll refine that as we move forward with the project. Hopefully, if we're selected, we'll bring back more.
I want to mention the pre-application.
Yeah, we had a real nice pre-application meeting with Zach and Jeff from the planning department, and they had some preliminary comments to review with us. We worked through. Looks like all of those comments would not preclude us from doing what we're proposing to you tonight. We have some work to do with them and some variances to request. So, but I think nothing is we heard today was insurmountable. I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you.
It's our presentation. So
Great.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate that.
Questions you may have.
Yeah, let's entertain questions here. Paul.
Yes. First, a comment to all proposers, the guardrail opening that looks like an entrance from Bear Creek is an easement that was vacated on 2017. So there is not access available through that, it's my belief. 99% certainty, found the ordinance or the resolution and the document, but not the signature. And I have a question. I noticed there's a tree marked for removal, a Theodore cedar that survived the Almeida fire in 2020. Are you willing to treat it as a resource and design the building around it?
That would be very challenging. If the city has a mitigation plan for removal or even moving trees, we're more than happy to do that. But as you can see, it's pretty much smack in the middle of the building.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got a question about the wetland area overlap region, which is quite a bit of area there right next to our wetland. What are your ideas? Yeah, that shows it. What are your ideas for that? I guess we'll call it a transition area. What would you do with that area?
We would propose to leave it a natural resource as it is and enhance it potentially, but one of the enhancements we would propose would be to work with the city on creating a connection between the visitors hub, which is the bigger circle area where those new structures are, and our parking lot. So that pathway that's going up to the vacated road entrance off of Bear Creek Road, the bicycles or pedestrians aren't traveling up to that kind of no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
That it would connect through the parking lot and then connect to the in this slide there's a sidewalk that would go in front of the new public parking that the city's building and our project, and that connection would go to 4th Street. We talked to Zach and Jeff about a mid-block crosswalk to get across from that access point, across the street and to the bus stop.
Okay.
I have a question about the parking. And Paul's comments might make this point moot, but it appears from this drawing that the new parking is not connected to the public parking from the city. Is that correct?
It is connected.
Okay, so that.
Yeah, there's a two-way. There's a two-way spot, and
Okay.
The response we got back from planning was that there would be flexibility in where that two-way traffic connection would be.
Okay.
And they would work with us to accommodate striping accordingly.
Okay. Very good.
So Paul,
But that would be that would, if we don't have access off of Bear Creek, we would have we'd have not a hammerhead, but a little bit of a turnaround at the end where that gray area is up to the property. So somebody coming in could come in, turn around and not have to seek entry off of Bear Creek.
Yeah, that was my question is how, based on what Paul said, the impact of not using that as a entrance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only the only upside to that entrance off of Bear Creek would be one way in only.
Mhm, understand.
We've never planned it to try to way
Right.
left out and
Yeah.
try to jump in front of traffic going 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We had a hard enough time crossing it
Right.
at First or Second Street and at
Understand.
3:30 in the afternoon.
In only, right.
It's car after car after car, so we wouldn't ever propose to go left. It'd only be
Right.
a left in if it's possible. If it's not possible, the contingency is to just have a hammerhead there to
Okay,
make a turnaround.
okay.
And just doing a time check, we have 5 minutes left of Q&A.
One thing that you said when I sat in on that meeting a week or two ago that stood out to me, because of higher order street lighting being 4 streets of any department, obviously. This building is viewed by all 4 sides, and one thing that you said stood out and meant a lot to me was that your architecture goes from 4 sides, not just the side face of the street. So that's just a comment I wanted to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. My mentor said that the back of the building has to look as good as the front of the building
Mhm.
because a neighbor might see it or who knows who's going to see it. But yeah, and we talked about at length with planning today, and we determined that Bear Creek would be the primary. There's more traffic there. The logic for seeing the entry from Bear Creek, even though you might not be able to get to it from Bear Creek, would be the prominent elevation that we want to try to emphasize to the community.
I understand that.
Go ahead.
Eric.
Go ahead.
Okay. I understand that your client is in a situation where you can't disclose who that person is. This is a parcel of land that's owned by PHURA, and it's an important piece of our town. I would struggle with making a recommendation to sell a piece of property without knowing who the owner is going to be. And I understand the position that you're in, but if we do get to the point where we are recommending your proposal, I feel like we need to have an understanding that we need to know who that person is before the property closes or before we get too far along in negotiations. And that can be done in a way where it's kept confidential.
We could do that.
Okay.
And we're very close to being able to make that announcement. It's just is in sensitive stages of say negotiations. But yes, we could do that. You say confidentially at any time in the executive session or something. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
You asked the same question I was going to ask, so thank you.
From a construction flow of this, I don't know when the city plans on building that parking lot. So what does your construction schedule look like so that the city would have information that they would need to know their parking lot would need to be developed? Because if not, you don't have access to your property very well. So
We talked about that. We talked about that with Kyle a little bit earlier after debriefing from our meeting with planning this morning, and Zach indicated that too. They would like to move quickly on it. The drawings are moving quickly. The federal funding, who knows? I mean, we're shut down at the moment. I was concerned I might not be able to fly home tomorrow, but this is a nice place to get stuck though. So as a contingency, I'm okay with that. But use my pointer here. This is built. This is the portion of the parking lot that is existing, and it stops right here. The plan that the civil engineer has drawn for the city starts right about here. And the paving extends, but the actual parking lot starts right about here and then goes all the way to 4th Street and then on the opposite side. and then there's a sidewalk here, and then there's potentially a sidewalk that the city's going to end up building on this side. We're prepared to do that sidewalk regardless. But the idea would be this kind of nub, that we would use that as the in and out and then come onto the existing paved area that would not change in your new plan, and then gain access off of Third Street.
We're less than 1 minute.
One final question? Any final comments from
No,
You
just
just-
again, thank you very much for the opportunity to present our vision.
Great. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you.
Our next proposal is from Christina Lefevre of Pollinator Project Rogue Valley.
I'm going to be joined by two other presenters, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
And Rosa will.
I've got you already there. Yeah.
Need to use this thing.
Mhm.
All right, we have plenty of chairs.
Hard copy, that's part of this presentation, so I have copies for everyone. Rosa, do you want to pass it on to I?
Sure, I can take. Thank you.
Robert, would you hand that to her too, since you have to be up? Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you. And I would like to say again, personally, as the presenter before, thank you for what you do as for the city, as volunteers and as business people. Thank you for thinking about how to move Phoenix forward in the best way possible. My name is Christina Lefevre, and I'm here proud to serve as the volunteer executive director of Pollinator Project Rogue Valley. And I'm very happy to be joined by.
I'm Erin Keller. I'm on the board of directors for the Pollinator Project Valley.
Hello, I'm Robert Coffin, and I'm on the advisory board to Pollinator Project Rogue Valley. Also a co-founder of a couple of other nonprofits, Southern Oregon Monarch Advocates and Western Monarch Advocates. But tonight I want to make sure that you also understand with this kind of a project, I'm also a developer and have owned two of my own private engineering businesses. And I think that's important for how we look at all the developments.
And I'd like to thank, I'm going to read my slides, my comments to make sure I stay on track. So I hope you don't mind. I normally can speak, but I'd rather stay on track. So thank you for the opportunity to present to you today about our vision. But before we begin, I must take a moment to say thank you to everyone who is attending this meeting, either in person, thank you so much, or on Zoom, and especially those who showed up to support this proposal. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. So as you know, neither I nor my team are developers. Robert has experience. And we don't have the time, staff, or money to prepare anything like what Mr. Marshall and Mr. Wicks are capable of. But we are a dedicated nonprofit committed to helping Phoenix and the entire Southern Oregon region become more vibrant, resilient, economically viable, and a better place to live for people as well as pollinators. We believe our community-driven vision will help put Phoenix on the map as a destination for the unique and inherent qualities that are already part of this town. Here are two slides to introduce you to Pollinator Project Rogue Valley. We are a 501c3 nonprofit based in Phoenix since 2017. Our current vision is communities and landscapes working together, supporting diverse ecosystems rich with native pollinators and thriving native pollinators, native plants and thriving native pollinators. There's our programs. You can see myself and our three staff, and I'd like to thank Erin again. We also have Pat Burnham and Paul Kay in the audience. Sally Jepson is watching, I'm sure. Paul Sheldon, what did I say? Paul Sheldon, sorry, too many Pauls in the room. So thank you. Yes, next slide, please. You will get a flavor of the work we do with these photos. We have an adult education program called Habitat Academy. That's David Lee Myers. David Lee Myers in the audience. Thank you so much. We have a growing gardens program with our small propagation nursery and our demonstration garden out front, our Pollinator Pals youth education program, and tying it all together is our Rogue Buzzway program where people self-certify their pollinator gardens on an interactive map. And I invite you to learn more about us and all of our programs on our website.
So as you're familiar with many of our programs and with Pollinator Project, you might wonder, why do we think that we need to build an eco-education center with a butterfly house? Well, we're aware of some important ecological problems, and we're here to solve them. The big four are declining insect populations, lack of habitat, lack of public awareness is huge, and we're part of a community that is continuing to recover from the fire. While insects are absolutely critical to life on Earth, they're disappearing at alarming rates. Butterfly populations have declined by 22% over just the last 20 years. Lack of habitat, there's way too few native trees, too few native plants in residential and business landscapes, too many acres of lawn, widespread use of pesticides, and a rapidly changing climate. All of these wreak havoc on crucial insect populations. Public awareness is shockingly low. We run into people who don't know that a caterpillar precedes a butterfly. What is a host plant? That some butterflies depend on only one or two species of host plant. That there are over 700 species of native bees in Oregon alone. That beetles, wasps, and other pollinators are critical for life on Earth, including ours. You may not know that in news stories published from 2007 to 2019, only 0.007 reference pollinator declines. So how's the public to know about it? So for all of these reasons, insects and pollinators are rarely considered when policy can be made and any decisions. Also, because we're part of this community and part of the recovery, we are wanting to think about how do we highlight and build on the unique ecological and community assets of Phoenix, Oregon. Next slide, please. So this slide, I love this slide. It's a little bit of transition. It's part of the problem, and it's also very much the solution. The problem, you can see, it's got almost nothing going on for pollinators right now. However, it is one of the most uniquely positioned pieces of property you can imagine. And after we do a little explanation, I hope you'll agree that it almost has to be an eco-education center. So I know you guys are all familiar with this, but the little inset over to the left shows where the pollinator project is currently located in relationship to the property that we hope to develop. And then just a reminder that access to the greenway is one of the few accesses to the greenway in the entire valley, where people can get from their bicycles and they're walking on the greenway into a community where they can eat now foot traffic. And yeah, so next slide. So the unique opportunity. Well, first of all, Phoenix is located in Southern Oregon, which is one of the most ecologically diverse regions in the country. Phoenix is also centrally located to the valley, which gives easy access to all area schools, communities, and tourists. It has one of the few accesses to Greenway and to Bear Creek, and it's close to Blue Creek Park. And so this property is also in the heart of Phoenix. It would be more centrally located, and it is right next to the future home of the Phoenix Springs Nature Complex. We hope. How does that help us raise awareness? Well, area schools will be able to access it easily for field trips and outdoor classes. People and families can engage with the Eco Center and the Phoenix Springs Nature Complex, enjoying learning process in a beautiful setting. We promise it will be beautiful. Local environmental organizations can partner with the center and use it for meetings, classes, conferences, all bringing people into Phoenix. And native plant nursery will be easily accessible to gardeners and shoppers all year long. And then community members will act as volunteers, have the opportunity to act as volunteers, to participate, to learn, and eventually to teach about the amazing ecosystem and how we can all save it. So let's make Phoenix an even more unique destination than it already is.
So here's our proposal for this property today. This is a concept only. We know this will change once this becomes real drawing. I believe it's not necessarily drawn up for code, and I could go into more detail about what you're actually seeing there. For context, we are right to the, I don't have a cursor to show you, but you can see where the Phoenix Civic Center is, where we're sitting today. And then PPRV's current office is in the Oregon Cheesecake Building. I love that. Melody will love that. That is right there in Suite B, which we happily share with B Sweet Blooms, our local florist. And so once the new parking lot is put in, then we'd love to see a beautiful walkway connecting the building on Main Street to native plant demonstration gardens, a retail nursery, indoor and outdoor covered education spaces, including a large gazebo, and to top it all off, a butterfly house. And all of this is wonderful, but perhaps the highest use is its direct connection, maybe a keystone part of the aforementioned Phoenix Nature Complex that we've heard about, that I believe I've heard that Phoenix is also already considering developing parts of that. So when you look at that big brown square, just know that you're just looking at the roof. It's going to change. But I could imagine that a third of that is completely roof only. There's no real walls, so that you can have art and outdoor education, an indoor-outdoor art. Somehow I see that flowing from the outdoor space to the indoor space. There is classroom space for our pollinator pals, our adult education. Other nonprofits could use that as well. I would really like to have an office in that building because we are about out of room. For anyone who has walked into the current PPRV office, you know what I'm talking about. The retail nursery that's there, I think, is a little too big. It should be smaller. The butterfly house is probably going to be situated somewhere else and probably could be maybe a tad bigger. I don't know. And then that is not lawns. I just want to make sure that is just green because it's quick and easy, but those are all various and sundry demonstration gardens full of native plants and trees. Next slide, please. And this, as I said, is perhaps the keystone too.
So, hello, everybody. I'm here to, as you can tell by looking at this, a lot of you have participated and know this image a bit. What we're looking at and what we're talking about, and what you are, is highest and best use. And for that, I would like to read something, because this tax lot that you're looking at tonight, as you know, could be part of a much bigger picture for our blighted urban area in Phoenix. So, as advisors to the Phoenix Urban Renewal Agency tonight, you have this task of assessing several options presented by interested parties to develop this one tax lot. It's important, though, it's along that southwestern edge of Bear Creek Drive and 4th Street. So as you do this, I want you to please consider the more far-reaching long-term project to resurrect the whole blighted area in downtown Phoenix that this property is a part of. And I'm referring to this, the Phoenix Springs Nature Complex, which several of you helped to author. Wherever it goes, it was part of what our community moved together to conceptualize. So the base map and the summary that went with it was submitted to the city by 10 different entities way back in July of 2025. And the first feature that we introduced in that summary was this North End Welcome and Education Center. And it said an educational space, but the text is in there, and Christina has really identified how beautifully that could happen. But it's listed first because it is the keystone to the entire concept. And I'm reminding you of this now, even though we're coming back to this particular site, is that it is going to affect, whatever you do is going to affect a much larger area within PHURA's purview. The location must serve as a visible, welcoming entrance to the entire nature complex if we're going to do it. The butterfly pavilion, the open areas conceptualized by Pollinator Project Rogue Valley will be the start of this wonderful process. And I opine anyway, that if the parcel is developed in any other fashion, that overarching Phoenix Springs nature complex is not going to come to fruition.
Just a quick time check. We have about 1 minute left of presentations and then we go into 10-minute
I
Q&A.
guess we better hurry up. All right.
There's just
I wondered about that.
there's a lot of yardsticks that you need to use to measure highest and best use of a property. And you can receive immediate dollars from the sale of land or increasing the tax base. But these are short-term aspects, and PHURA was established as a long-term investment strategy to fund and construct and help redevelop these key sites. As it says, small town atmosphere in the center of it all, and covering this property as proposed, the PPRB will continue to build that center of it all.
So if you can just go to the next slide, we'll try to wrap it up. So you've already seen that. Can you flip through again, Rosa, please? We think Oregon needs an eco-education center and a butterfly house. We have some objectives. I'm hoping we can share this with you. Apologies for taking so long to get through the first part because the second part is really what we want to talk about. So we have enticement, education, and engagement. Next slide, please. Here are a few butterflies that we have raised and released this year in a very small space. I already said that. Next slide, please. We have lots of benefits. There is no way that we can even, with 1 minute left. So we're going to just fly through this. Sorry about that, but I hope you will take the time to read through that. Next slide. Another slide of benefits. We have a timeline. Next slide. Yeah, the benefits timeline. We think we're looking at 2030 and 2035 to get this thing finished, but we can start immediately. And next slide. These are our supporters and funding partners, some of them in the room. So proud of this slide, and I know there will be more. Next slide, please. I'd like to make sure that you know that we have a lot of community support for this project. We started this 6 days ago. We have 75 letters and more. I have them here. I'm going to turn in as evidence.
75.
And I'd like to read from our Senator Jeff Golden. I'm struck by its singular creativity and how strongly it reflects the values of stewardship, enterprise, and ingenuity that the city of Phoenix has displayed over the past 5 years of recovery. The prospect of bringing such a robust, inclusive display of pollinators, plant diversity, and wildlife just in the wake of the reconnection of Blue Heron Creek into Bear Creek, all in an urban and emerging business setting, is truly exciting. For those of you on social media, you will realize that that number of views, 7,800, is big. It's really big for us. This is probably, I don't know, 3 to 4 times larger than our largest view as normal. 33 shares, 68 comments. I won't belabor that further. Next slide, please. There you go. We are inviting a public-private partnership to envision this long-term asset for Phoenix and beyond. Last slide. Thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you.
Well,
Questions?
financially,
Yes, sir.
let's hear it.
We have begun our outreach right now. We have no money to bring to this. We would love to have the city help us create the project. That property is worth 250 to 300,000 the last time I heard, but that was a couple years ago. It might be worth more than that now. I don't know. Is there a way that we could work with the city, perhaps a long-term lease? Perhaps there would be a gift and we would own the structures and you would own the land. You could donate it to us. I do strongly believe that with the community support that we've seen, that once we start a capital campaign, it won't be quick because it doesn't happen that way. But I do believe that we would raise the money. I believe there's people in this valley that would say this is amazing. We're looking beyond the city. Ashland has the North Mountain Nature Park, Nature Center. It inspired me when I moved to Ashland and when I moved here. It was amazing. Cities come and go, they're coming back. But this is larger than one city. I see that this is something that is actually for Southern Oregon. It will be bringing people in from much further. And I think that this is, as Robert said, this is the keystone to the Nature Springs complex that is being considered. And I think I've said this from the day one, Phoenix has something that no other city has. And I would really, really hope that you capitalize on that in a good way, not the capital. That might have been a poor choice of words. That you take advantage of that and you really help your citizens, your residents, and the people of Southern Oregon realize what they have. So no, I didn't answer your question about finances, but I do.
It's fine. That really says it right there, Mayor Al.
Okay.
That we're bringing a concept, we're bringing a huge momentum. And this has to be a we thing. And we can be the city, other entities in the city, it can do it, but it's definitely going to be something, and that's what we want. We have all done our work based on incredible collaboration, and that will have to be a part of this as well.
That's right.
Just add one other thing, we hope you'll read the benefits to the city, those 2 slides.
Yes.
And one of our models is in Elton, the ECEC that had the butterfly house, and they were having limited people coming to it until they get to their native plant garden, until they built a butterfly house. And then people started coming. So the butterfly house is a draw, not just, I mean, it's Elton, Oregon, it's tiny, but they are drawing from all over the region.
And they've had that for 10 years, the Butterfly House. They've been in existence for 25, and the Butterfly House has been there for 10. And one of the things that just inspired me so much is that they receive grant funding, they receive funding from community members, and then they hire high school students to run the center. They have a very small staff and mostly oversee the students during the year. So I know that we can do that. I'm already in contact with Southern Oregon Youth Works. We're going to have 2 students from a local high school working with us starting in a month, and we won't be paying them, but they will be getting minimum wage through Southern Oregon Youth Works.
Well, you might go into a shot plans. Thank you. First, I want to say thank you for what you all do. I'm a big supporter of what you do. My logo, I saw you spoke their logos as donators for what you do. Education is very important. Started one with the where the building is in the city.
This one?
There was one that also showed.
Yeah, this one, gotcha.
Oh, there's another one too.
No, have you considered other sites during a lot of our research of properties downtown? I thought there's another site on First and American Drive that would be great for what you're doing. And this, I understand, you know, entrance to the Greenway there. I like that personally all the way through the Phoenix Nature Complex, so getting people to walk through that. Also, this is an opportunity. I don't see, I'm not sure what Daniel Topmouse, vision is yet. I don't see, Brian Henry's vision being able to work at a site like that over on First and Bear Creek. But I feel like the First and Bear Creek could accommodate both sites where you could be there and they want to get a group to get the current educational welcome center that you have marked and get the both of them. That's the both worlds. We need more economy in this town. We, as a business owner, I want to see people come to town, to have dinner, to stay over, and seeing that growth. Very important to me as well. But my life, kids, have nature as town about education. Obviously wanting to be able to find ways. So does that side of the other sides and consider?
And you're talking about that one right there.
Building where it's very discriminating.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So
Of course, let's see if I can work it.
I see.
you wanna?
No, you can.
5 minutes.
So,
That right there.
Yeah,
talking
that area right there. Where there's the foundation of the building, the berm, and it goes right into additional, the berm trail. So in a location like that, you'd be located right in the middle of downtown. You have the Burger Trail on one side, you have the Phoenix Nature Complex on the other. I understand the, idea of that front and center greenway, but I also, love when businesses are anchors and actually pull people through the trails. It's just a consideration of what I think you have.
I'd like to answer that as someone who's been thinking a bit with others here about the bigger picture. I really don't think that will work, and the reason why is if you really look at that whole shape, the north end is truly the entrance. If that is circumvented and there's just something out in the center, half of this whole area wouldn't get the view and to start the whole pedestrian, get out here, park and start to go see this area, you need it at the front. And if the front is changed to where it's a, big structural building, you're just gonna miss it. So we've thought about it a great deal. That's just the opinion right now is that's the second idea that you brought up doesn't seem to make as much sense at all.
I agree with that, some aspects going to something that one of you said is the Butterfield House I developed it has drawn people specifically to that. So with that comment, I would potentially argue that what you're doing is going to be a big enough draw, it is going to create people. Because it's something beautiful and something great for the community. I do understand there's something very nice about being up front and center. Phoenix Industrial Studios is not up front and center. My business is there and people have come to it, and it's because we've done something that's good for the community, which obviously you guys are trying to do as well.
And I would just want to say, I just so appreciate Phoenix Industrial Studios, what's all there. It's a beautiful place, but that's not the topic of this meeting. I would also like to add that I don't think from its, I'm not sure how to say this, but if you compare that site to that site, that's a difficult site because there's so much water on it. So there is going to be a lot of maintenance because all these plants are going to want to be growing and there is a lot of water on it. So I don't see personally how that site would actually work other than walking through riparian trails. And you don't have the space to do the rest of what we envision. So yes, I hope that helped.
And we just have 1 more minute.
Yes.
Paul?
I want to ask the same question about the Theodore Cedar. It's an inconvenience or?
Could you go to one of the slides on this side? As you can see, it's not drawn in there. It is there. I mean, it could be there. That I would love to have an arborist come look at that tree. It has branches, huge branches that will just fall off in the middle of the day. I've seen it, no wind, nothing. So it needs to be looked at. So if someone can say that it's a safe tree, then I see the legacy that's there. I can't say that it's a good tree to keep at the moment, but I think.
I would also like to add that this, as you can see right there, would blend very well with the master plan that was presented earlier.
Yes, that's right, to have the.
Yeah, so just to confirm, you're looking at the city working with you actively for the financial aspect and the total collaboration, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think that Phoenix would benefit from collaborating with this project. I will tell you that PPRV, we are not a developer, but I know a lot of people and we know a lot of people. But yes, we would love to have the city collaborating with us, how it works. We have insurance. We have a $2 million policy as of right now. So we will be learning a lot. I know now how to say we could float a slab. So, you learn things as you go. But yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like we're out of time.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I see a show of hands for people who want to go yes? Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for coming.
And I'm turning this sheet of paper in of the letters that came in through email or it's not so much helping that.
And Daniel Kavanaugh. Rogue Sauna.
Double click it and I can control it.
You should be able to do that full sign, that arrow right there. Yep. And then you can use the mouse or the clickers.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me today, everybody. It's good to be back here. I was here about a year ago. Nice to see everybody that I've spoken with about this and it's nice to see you in person. Good to see you. Yeah, put a face to the name. So we're here to share a proposal for the Bear Creek property on how Rogue Sauna can bring steady, meaningful activity to the city center. Rooted in wellness, connection, and everyday community life. Just briefly, who we are. Again, my name is Daniel Kavanaugh. My co-founder's name is Nate Plant. He couldn't be here this evening. We came together, this project came together working on a community food project, donating food to the Rogue Valley during COVID when food supply chains were uncertain. And I don't mean to virtue signal, but from the very beginning, our work together has been rooted in service and well-being. My background is in, I started a community center in Arkansas and served on the Main Street Revival Project, which is super similar to PHURAC. So I also appreciate what you guys do here. And so over the past 2.5 years, we've traveled across the world and the country, domestically, internationally, studying sauna culture, how it's built, how it operates, and how it brings people together. I can't count how many bathhouses I've been to in the last 2.5 years. And so today, Rogue Sauna is a vertically integrated sauna design and build company. And we design, build, and operate saunas with, we do that with craftsmanship, compliance, and culture. So that's a dedication to natural, durable, thoughtful materials, commercial safety and accessibility as a baseline, and healthy, enjoyable alternative to alcohol-centered social spaces. So at our core, we're building spaces that help people feel good and feel connected. Why we're here for Bear Creek Drive? For us, Bear Creek has been the property. It's the right location to activate the city center. We love that there's 9,000 cars that pass daily here, the walkability to the foodery and storefront corridors, the access to I-5, Ashland, Medford, Phoenix neighborhoods, Medford neighborhoods. It's so accessible. And at its core, when you break down the sauna experience, the first thing you need to do when you're done is rehydrate, and then you're hungry. So it's so easy for us to generate. It's really synergistic for us with the foodery. We've been extremely excited about the foodery since it's opened, and it allows us to not have to incorporate food licensing to make things much simpler, and then provides many options for our guests. And it's really easy for people to go back and forth between our businesses. And the Civic Center as well is for programming, events, and just being front and center it's very nice. So it's not just a place that people drive by, it's a place that people can stay. And our enthusiasm has really only grown over the last year. And to us, like a perfect day is skiing at Mount Ashland, going rafting, coming to sauna and warm up afterwards, get food at the foodery, and then mosey around downtown. And it sounds like it's a great afternoon to me. so to show how we're aligned with FURA, FURA defines the city center as the heart of the community and the logical place for people to gather, which our venue is exactly that. It brings daily year-round gathering and not just seasonal events. It creates foot traffic that supports nearby restaurants, coffee shops, and retail, and it offers a healthy alternative to alcohol-focused social life, and it's welcoming to both locals and visitors. So it's not just a one-time attraction. It's a place that strengthens the heartbeat of the town every day. I'll just get into the rise of sauna culture just briefly. Over the weekend, we were just at Seattle Sauna Festival. It was the first of its kind. It was covered by NPR nationally by NPR. I was on there talking about the rise of Pacific Northwest sauna culture, and it's featured countless times now. New York Times, Seattle Times is on the cover of Portland Monthly last year. SF Gate talks about it regularly. Sauna is now mainstream social wellness. It's the go-to way for social. It's the go-to for social wellness. And from San Francisco to Seattle, there are dozens of sauna and cold plunge venue spaces that are just packed out on the weekends. And I was talking with someone at the event over the weekend. There's very few places where everyone leaves feeling great. If you ask every person that left the event, we had 1,000 people come through one of our saunas. And it's kind of amazing that it's just a good atmosphere. It's all age ranges, denomination, race, gender, and it's puts you in, the Japanese call it the Toteno state. And it's this brainwave state. You're feeling relaxed, but also energized. And it's like boundary dissolving in this way. And it really encourages a lot of communication and social interaction. And yeah, it's like, you could have a great night at the bar. Sometimes the vibe is so high. You can achieve these same things at a sauna venue without all of the negative repercussions. So we're really passionate about it, and it's a very fun thing to be around. And so as a local opportunity, again, like cities from San Francisco to Seattle have social sauna venues. There's one. It's every major city has one, and we're looking to bring this to Phoenix and to make it an opportunity to lead in Southern Oregon rather than to follow. We're connecting the gap. We're already rooted here. We can connect Phoenix to the growing West Coast sauna circuit and bring people into town for the experience. And as an anecdote, I'm close with the owner of it's like the main source for sauna information, sauna communities called Sauna Times, Glenn Auerbach. And he just called me for this pilot program. They have a maps where you can find out social saunas anywhere you're traveling. I use it all the time. It needs updating, so they're updating it and they're piloting a way to monetize it and show kind of like what to do on the sauna circuit. So once you go sauna, places to go afterward, restaurants or coffee to enjoy after that. And he was asking me to kind of put together the Pacific Northwest because if you don't know this, we're like really up and coming in sauna culture. There's an amazing circuit from Seattle to San Francisco. And so the Rogue Valley is right midway through that. So there's a lot of really cool attention that's already on this area. So the venue model is an outdoor sauna cold plunge campus. Which includes a shared check-in area, lockers and restrooms, multiple freestanding saunas, deck paths that connect everything and make it comfortable all seasons. And importantly, it's a phone-free to support presence and real social connection. So if you could imagine, it's kind of like the courtyard that's out front of this place with landscaping and hardscaping combined with the foodery, actually, where there's these modular style buildings with an awning to protect from the weather. And that is that's the concept for this place. And so I just want to note briefly, I sent this in an email, but we reviewed section 2.3 and table 2.3.2, and our use aligns with personal and professional services, spa and wellness services, which is listed as permitted in the city center district. And our layout is a courtyard style campus with freestanding sauna buildings and shared check-in restroom and locker facilities. And this is consistent with the district's intent to provide pedestrian oriented communal gathering spaces and tourist amenities. So the operating rhythm, it's 7 days a week. We're open 7 days a week, 7 sessions a day, 20 seats a session. We don't need more than that for the Rogue Valley, and it's 2-hour cycles. So guest book online. We do allow walk-ins. There's memberships, class packs, like a 3-pack, 5-pack, and a 10-pack. So you book online, your sauna is ready. You come with your swimwear. There's a locker to change in. There's showering areas, restroom, and you get ready to go in the sauna, and other attendees and customers are there, and you enjoy the sauna. It's about time for 4 to 5 rounds, which is what you need to really get into this, get the full sauna experience. And so we're not rushing people through the space. There's other ways to program it as well, where people can kind of have half-day passes. But to start simple and see how Rogue Valley interprets this, we'll start with 2-hour cycles. And so from there, like again, like the sauna experience is you need to drink water afterward, and then you're for sure going to go get some food. So to have plenty of options, the foodery is it's amazing. It's really great programming. And then to be able to walk around afterward, and then this wetlands project, it is so synergistic with what we're envisioning as well. And we haven't called the pollinator project yet, but for us, what we were doing isn't, the first thing that me and Nate thought was the foodery, and that both of us have a background in permaculture and regenerative farming, and that it's biophilic concepts, and that to kind of dampen some of the sound and kind of add privacy for a semi-outdoor, semi-permanent space, greenery is so much a part of it. And it's a no-brainer for us to some sort of partnership with the pollinator project, and we would love to load up the property with pollinators. We're very much in support of the Rogue Pollinator project. So foot traffic, even at 50% utilization, that's a roughly 490 visitors per week, 25,000 a year, 8,500 unique visitors visiting annually, averaging about 3 visits a year. And that's us looking to capture about 3% of the region's population. And so at 60% utilization, numbers bump up to about 10,000 unique visits a year. So the community and local economic benefits, again, it's we're supporting restaurants, cafes, and retail, encouraging walkability in downtown, providing a third space that's not home, it's not work, but it's somewhere to be. And we're really looking to strengthen Phoenix's identity as a welcoming, connected, human-centered town. And this helps it helps Phoenix become a place where people want to spend time. And again, as soon as the foodery opened, I started spending so much more time here. I live here in the Rogue Valley. Nate lives in the Rogue Valley. All of our employees live in the Rogue Valley. We're connected to this space. Obviously, the Alameda fires affected everyone. We're rooting for Phoenix. We've been rooting for Phoenix, and it's just become a really great place to live. I've been trying to convince my parents to move here for the last 2 years, and I'm like maybe winning the fight now, I think. Maybe. I didn't want to risk like technical difficulties. I really wanted to put some videos here. I'm going to provide links for all these, but some comparable venues that are outdoor spaces. There's 3 really good examples right here. One is called Connect Wellness. It's up in Vancouver, Washington. They're on their 4th year. It's super grassroots. They're not compliant at all. For so many reasons. I'm actually kind of surprised how they're opening. I know the owner, Michelle, very well. She's great. We get along. She's rocking it. She's created an incredibly amazing organic community. And again, like every photo you see of this, people at the venue, everyone's smiling, having a great time. There's somehow the city is like allowing this to go on. I think it's because there's so much support, but she's at full capacity all winter long. As soon as October rolls around, weekends are booked out. And this is consistent with pretty much every sauna venue up and down the West Coast. And she's expanding to a 2nd location. Hers is kind of like, it's hodgepodge. It's in her backyard. It's in a neighborhood, very grassroots, very organic community. Still, the sauna experience is unchanged, and it's a lovely place to visit. The 2nd example is kind of like a mid-tier. It's called Portal Thermoculture. This place has gone completely viral. Andrew Huberman talks about it. It's a really cool spot in Denver. They're on their 2nd year. They're really well branded. It's a vibey place. They have a great marketing team. The social media presence is great. again, they're totally non-compliant, and they're kind of struggling with the city right now. They're at full capacity every weekend throughout the whole season, and they're opening a second location in Minnesota, or they've already opened a second location in Minnesota. So these places are growing. And then a really great example with beautiful architecture, programmed craftsmanship, and fully compliant is a venue called Earth in Vancouver, BC, which Vancouver's sauna scene is it's more mature than ours, and it's a great place to kind of glean where we're headed. Seattle, especially San Francisco, and all these places in between. It's a compliant venue space, and that's kind of like the biggest barrier to entry. And getting into this is understanding compliance with cold plunges, accessibility, and we have strong knowledge of all this and are ready to open a fully compliant facility. And again, Earth is at full capacity, like as soon as their doors open.
And we just have less than a minute.
Okay, that sounds great. So all right, our design team, we just brought on Dan Murphy from the Landry Group, a skilled local craftsman. We have strategic trade partnerships and an internal code compliance playbook. So we're ready to open compliant venue space immediately. And what we're asking for is approval to purchase and develop the Bear Creek property and begin site plan and technical review immediately. And we've been ready for a year. So we're also asking that we could honor that we had been here and we had a verbal alignment from PHURA and previous members last year. And we've been patiently waiting with just increased enthusiasm. So I just do want to make note of that here and say it here at the meeting. And then I don't have a really cool tagline, but Phoenix is a great place to gather, and we want wellness, culture, and social life to meet in a public space and make Phoenix a place that people want to return to.
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel, what is the square footage of this building and how would it be placed on this property?
Right. So it's not one building, it's multiple buildings.
Oh.
And so there's a lot of flexibility in it. And to be totally candid, when we were ready a year ago and things stalled out, we're really busy right now. And we needed some signal to know that we were going to move forward. We have site plans, we have a great team, and to be able to program a space like this is kind of like we live and breathe this every day. We heard about it that I was able to present a week ago. We were getting ready for the Seattle Sauna Festival, and we're moving into a new warehouse space on December 1st. So we can provide a conceptual sketch by the end of next week.
Okay.
I would have the same question that I had on your project as far as location on First Street and Bear Creek. If you look at that property, all is currently for sale. I don't know if that's the footprint without brought up of what you had to need, and if that was a pollinator project, but it's another one where potentially we can have numerous businesses coming to this town, what you're looking at doing as well. I see great benefit to towns, great people from all over the Rogue Valley. It's something that I personally want to do, and it's I think good for the community. There's creating a financial aspect to it, in a positive way.
Yeah.
And but once again, I don't know if you look at that property, is that something that could work there for you? Bureau does not own it, and it's currently for sale.
We just really like this property. Probably. I appreciate the suggestion. I probably not. I would look at it. We really love this property for the location of being able to see it from the foodery and making it so that our guests can easily just feel incorporated in this whole area here. Same with the programming in this building too. We really enjoyed the layout of that. But I think it's a great suggestion to consider other places. We've looked all over the Rogue Valley. We've had a year to look around, and it's a unique venue space. It has unique needs, and the Rogue Valley doesn't have a ton of spaces that meet up with all of that to make an urban comfortability and space and like what your environment, what your surroundings are, and what you're looking at, like all really play so much into for this to work. You don't want people to feel crammed in a space that doesn't lend itself to this experience. I think that's a short way to say it. Yeah.
Well, want to ask Eric Heron because he's got a lot of experience looking around the valley. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't most saunas attached to massage and other things, other services, as opposed to just a sauna as far as a business model?
There's there is one that I know of in Ashland, yeah, that has a fitness center and aesthetics salon and a hair salon associated with it so that people come for multiple reasons. Yes.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
that's the one I know of. I think I've been to Earth before. Is there's some other they do some other services in there, kind of like what's the other place in Ashland? Chozu does, right?
Sure. So that would be the difference between a spa versus like a Nordic contrast. When you
Cool.
go to Europe or in Finland, where saunas come from, it's almost always just sauna. There,
Okay.
you can have food is more common than it is any other service. That's kind of like how it's been in America. But so there's, it's a little bit of a, I would say no, actually. That's more of a spa versus sauna contrast therapy venue space.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I noticed on your, in your presentation, you have excuse me, a cold plunge.
Yeah.
Is that different than your first presentation, or has that been there all along?
No, it's always been, it's contrast therapy. So
Great.
there's a way to scale into it too. That's really the biggest barrier to entry for compliance as well. So you can like a cold rinse, outdoor shower rinse, and then also like they do these like Bavarian buckets that you can pull and pour water over yourself, and then cold plunge is part of it.
Okay. I've got one quick question and then one other question. Closest venue similar to this, to the Rogue Valley?
Connect Wellness in Vancouver, Washington, or there's like a number in Portland in the Bay Area.
Okay. And then second question, you've given this a lot of thought and such. You have estimated development costs and funding?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's to answer or just to elaborate on that, self-funded with we have a couple JV options. We're kind of just depends on how, if we are accepted, which one we would choose.
What would your timeline look like?
Depending on permitting, I don't know what to expect for the permitting process, but we would be ready to start in first quarter. And looking at, if we phased it, we have a plan to phase it and open in 8 months, which I think is a little bit optimistic. We would love to be open by October 1st of next year. That would be an expedited process. And realistically, it's probably more like a year.
Thanks.
Well, it's what scale would you start, and what scale in terms of how many units would you say ultimately?
So we would start with 2 saunas. One is a 12-person sauna, it's the an ADA sauna, and 1 8-person sauna, and see if we need more. One of the like easy additions to a space like this is a private sauna. So depending on the space, or like a silent sauna is something that people enjoy sometimes. For this area, 20 is pretty good place to start for our population. And if depending on what the demands are, I don't see it, like we wouldn't double that. There would be no need for 40 seats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Daniel, sounds like you have a lot of experience in designing and building saunas. Do you have any ownership, or have you ever had any ownership in a business model like this?
A model like this? So I started Arkansas Circus Arts, which was a community center that was, we had a building in downtown on Main Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. And so we programmed, there was a lot of aerial silks, acro yoga, fire spinning. We made it so that it was accessible like to all ages. And then we had like freelance contracted with yoga and Pilates instructors and dance classes and things like that. So in a sense, that was really ahead of its time in Arkansas in 2012. Where I would relate it, and the correlation is that it's a new type of communal space, and fostering that type of a community and getting people to understand it in a way, but also just running a service-based business. I do, and then I have a commerce business that I run from home, so it's just retail based.
Okay, so you would intend that Rogue Sauna would own and operate this facility, not just.
If general manager, we would have, absolutely. Attendance, it's pretty low overhead, and it really doesn't take a lot to run a space like this, which is really nice about it as a model. And all of our SOPs are developed. It's really straightforward in learning how to take care of and clean a sauna. Really, it comes down to hiring and training employees who are good with people and kind of understand the sauna state, how to foster people through the experience.
What kind of data exists or have you looked into on target market, age range, income, stuff like that?
It's pretty accessible. So it's an average of $30 for 2 hours. And the age ranges are it's 18 to 65. And again, so we're looking to target 3% of the Rogue Valley, and have 8,500 unique customers come through a year. Obviously, tourism makes up a percentage of that. Some of these things like a public sauna circuit with a platform for it definitely lend itself to bringing in people who are just live in Eugene and want to come down and try our sauna venue. I'm a sauna freak. I go to saunas all the time. I'm like a huge enthusiast, and so I check them out every time I travel. But that is increasing. That every time I'm in a sauna, it's totally anecdotal, but that's happening. People travel for sauna all the time, and will go to other sauna venues. It's relatable to like your local bar, even. Just because you go to a place or you frequent a restaurant regularly doesn't mean that you want to go try out. You won't try new ones in other areas.
And we are at 10 minutes.
One final question? No? Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you to all three proposals. I think all three have a lot of merit, and obviously there's a lot of passion and love behind them. So appreciate you all coming out. Let's hear or start a discussion amongst our group. I'm kind of curious to hear if anyone has any immediate thoughts.
I didn't get a chance. Excuse me, I didn't get a chance to ask the question to the pollinator group, but I did have some questions around the for sale nursery. If maybe we can, if anybody knows more, we can explain that idea.
Or is it okay for us to do follow-up questions?
That's up to you guys.
Okay, so for follow-up questions, we'll entertain follow-up questions. I think that's important. When we ask a question, for the sake of folks on Zoom and our recording, we'll need answers from the mic here. So question for pollinator?
Yeah, so on the drawing, there was a for sale nursery, and I didn't really hear an explanation or a concept behind that. Would the intent to be to drive capital for maintenance or
Yes, sir.
managing?
It's a fundraiser for us. We currently raise about $10,000 a year with our current propagation nursery, which is way too small. And if a grant goes through, I guess I can say this, we are working on a grant that would give us 4,000 square feet of propagation nursery. And so that would be elsewhere. And then this would be a place that would be retail nursery so that it provides earned income, provides a way to engage and educate volunteers, educate community members, aforementioned students, I hope. So yes, it is a large part of what we do right now.
And that would be operated as a nonprofit?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All the proceeds go back either to paying staff who are working with us or helping our organization grow. Yep, it's a very important key part of our budget at the minute.
Okay. Thank you. That answers my question.
While Christina's up here, does anyone else have questions for their proposal? I have one.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, how crucial is your current rental to the success of your project?
Yes, it's a good question. I think I speak for PPRB. We want to stay where we are. Is that what you mean, the current rental? Yes. I think that it's important because I see that our current location as part of this. So we would be helping people come in off of Main Street and then walk across and be part of it rather than just always having to come off of Fourth Street. I see that current space could be transformed, believe it or not, and to be more open for exhibit space, educational, and Be Sweet Blooms, and we would stay in there together. But the space would be reconfigured. It would help traffic flow through, and it would also help the current businesses, Oregon Cheesecake, Phoenix Strip, and yeah.
Do you have a contingency plan if you aren't offered that space when your lease ends?
No, sir. We know that there's not a lot of space in the valley. We're there. I hope we don't have to leave, but no, I don't have any contingency plans. But I would come and ask people, some of the people at this in this room, for help.
Any other questions for Christina? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, I would just like to thank all three presenters. I think that you guys did a great job. I think the city of Phoenix is very fortunate to have three potential parties interested in their property, and I don't think that's been historically the case. And I just like to acknowledge the staff for doing good work around this and working with these three presenters to answer their questions, and Zach Moody and Mayor Al to push this forward and get us here today to have this meeting. So thank you guys. Thank you.
Paul.
Excuse me. I'd like to make a comment about my viewing of Roxana's work online, that it's the craftsmanship and the design are impeccable and moving. So here's an opportunity to share that.
Any other follow-up questions for anyone? No?
I did have a question going back to the medical office building. Brian and Henry, I'm not sure you can comment on this without divulging too much, but with respect to patients that would visit this facility, I'm curious to know if they would just be coming and leaving in a short period of time, or if they would need to recover in some way for a period of time. How not understanding what this business is, I'm curious to know how long someone's actually going to stay here in Phoenix when visiting that facility.
That's a good question, and I understand it. The procedures are fairly quick, anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. There will be some patients that will, because of the distance they're traveling, will stay in the area overnight. And there are quite a few follow-up visits the next day. And then some patients will come back in a month or 2 or 3 months for follow-up visits with the doctor and his staff. So there's a lot of repeat business, but then again, a majority of them will have one surgery or treatment, and they'll be fine, and they may not need another.
Okay, and they're mobile after the procedure.
I'm sorry?
They're mobile. They're mobile. They can walk around and
absolutely
do things, and they're not okay.
Yeah, and it'll all make sense as soon as we can disclose it. Hopefully it's very shortly that we'll be able to do that.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Brian. I got a quick question. What do you expect the reach is for this practice? If you were to do a radius or a population, how far of a reach do you think this medical practice would reach for their patients?
They have a practice now in Southern Oregon.
Okay.
And they are drawing from 3 to 3.5 hours away. A lot of the patients come from Bend,
Okay.
Grants Pass, and a lot come from the coast. Because there just aren't this service available, this practice available in those areas.
Northern California too, I would
And
assume.
Northern California,
Yeah, okay.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Brian, the other proposals spoke about why this property was the right fit for them. Can you speak on that as well?
Well, to be frank, the doctor wants to be in Phoenix, and looking at the properties that are available, this is by far the best. And the fact that a lot of the patients are elderly, and they think the connectivity to the local, the Foodery, as a matter of fact, and other retail spots close by is advantageous as to being in an area where they would have to get in their cars and drive, distance for those services. So, but the main reason is the doctor really wants to be in Phoenix. He really loves this community, and so that's the main reason. And we think it's the best site that we've been able to identify in Phoenix.
Yes, Mr. Hall, you mentioned, I'm looking at the economic development aspects. You mentioned approximately 10 staff.
Yes, well, 10 person
Okay.
total.
And is it equipment heavy, pharmacy?
Actually, it's not equipment. It's not equipment heavy. It doesn't have a lot of power requirements. We could get by with phase 1, phase 2. So it doesn't have large or some of the equipment's expensive, but not as expensive as your normal practice where they would have, big machines, and MRIs and so forth like that.
So I'm surmising skill heavy or pharmacy heavy?
I'm sorry?
Skill heavy
Skill heavy, yes, very skill heavy.
and pharmacy on site or out?
No, there's no pharmacy, and I can assure you, there's no cannabis either.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you.
I had a quick question on, maybe you can expand on this, but what kind of investment are you looking at in total in terms of when that build out in terms of just capital?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we're leaning on land costs and things like that, but we've done our pro forma, and it's about $3 million total.
Okay, and then there wouldn't be any request for nonprofit status, in other words,
No.
Okay. That's it.
Great, thank you. Where are we landed? Our options tonight are pretty straightforward. We can have a discussion and at some point entertain a motion to make a recommendation to PHURA. We don't have to make a decision. That's another option. Does this group feel that we need additional information before we are comfortable offering a recommendation? Does anyone feel strongly about any of the proposals that they've heard tonight?
Given that we're about 2 hours plus, I'd like to have a little additional time to digest it all. And have the other meetings, but I'm not quite ready to say anything.
I agree. I mean, personally, this is the first time I've heard of any of these proposals. Sounds like there's been other conversations and I'd like to think about these a little bit more before providing my input.
I like that approach. Same.
While we have our presenters here, if there were pieces of information that would help us form a more educated opinion, now would be a great time to ask those questions or dig further. Yes, Al.
Daniel, we need to see a site plan. Yeah, I mean, that's missing, we need to see that because I gotta look at it. Thank you.
Mr. Wicks.
Real quickly, I'd like to offer to, while you're all here and we're here, to maybe have a closed session and we can talk about the building owner and who it is and what more specific detailed information you may have. Just an offer to go to
Okay.
closed session.
I think we need
That's
that,
okay.
as the
Yeah.
chair said, we
And-
need that information.
Yeah.
And Eric, did you have something?
I was just going to ask Rosa, do we have all of these presentations that were presented tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I will be, some of them I received today, so that's why you all didn't receive them ahead of time.
Great. So we
But I
can-
plan on distributing
Thank you.
those to you all,
Thank you.
as well as the handout.
Christina, yes. We're kind of freestyling right now, so
Since our other presenter made this offer, I'm not asking for a closed session, but if anyone who's not familiar with PPRV would like to come and visit, and I would be happy to show you around. You can learn a little bit more. Thank you so much.
Well, quickly, while you're there. I asked about financing and collaboration. You have anything you want to present and how you think you would want that to work? Because that's the other people are very clear about purchasing.
Oh, sure.
Property, and your situation's a little different, so there's a lot of questions, I think, in my mind, and maybe in the other committee members here, of what does that collaboration really look like? And because
He left.
you're talking about somebody on
Yes.
this side.
Yes, sir.
Working with you. And the amount of time, energy, et cetera, the expertise needed to do that. I'd like you to outline that in writing for us.
We can do that. And I didn't know if I just, oh, that's fine. Pat Burnham is our treasurer. Don't know if you knew I was going to call on you, but Pat is such a resource to us. She is so overqualified. She's heard me say that's about her so many times. So I will be depending on her pretty heavily. What I see happening, I don't know this, so I'm going to probably use the wrong words, but I see different people in the community coming forward to help us not only acquire the land, but also continue with operational costs. I don't know how much it's going to cost to do this. We looked at the timeline briefly. It would be multiple phases. The building would be the very last phase because we have an office, and what we really need to do is repair the land and restore it. There's grant funding out there. Some of you operate as a nonprofit and you would know that. I talked with OWEB, Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board. They have $20,000 available that could help repair the land, remove the invasives. That's one small step. The Department of Land Conservation and Development, where we put in the grant to get the 4,000 square foot nursery. There's other funding available. I am the primary grant writer. I am not a grant writer. We would need to have some support in that area. I would love to have sponsorship for some of the programs. We have the Children's Learning Garden right behind the Blackbird, and we're doing some amazing things there. We received $25,000 from OSU Recreative Recovery to do that particular project. Pretty exciting about it. We had some kiddos there today. I can show you a video of that if you like. So we have a lot of opportunities for sponsorship, donation. Funding right now is harder than it used to be because of some changes happening at the federal level. So I know that grantors, foundations are pretty tight. We are not perhaps the priority. We're not feeding babies. We're not, helping preschool. I think Aaron wants to say something.
Just a couple things. I hope this is
I just want to be careful of our time also.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. So yes, we would run a capital campaign. We have already laid a lot of groundwork for that capital campaign, and our treasurer who's here could probably give you some pretty good bullet points right now about what we've done in the last 5 years with our budget, gone from a budget of something like $19.95 to
Not quite.
Yes,
the point.
almost $200,000 in just a short amount of time. And we've done most of that with funding and support, and we have a good reputation that we're not starting from scratch. We've put a lot of work into the relationships that would bring in those dollars.
Eric's got a question here.
Chair, I really don't have a question. I have a suggestion. It sounds like some people need some more time to think about it. We have presentations. We haven't reviewed the presentations like yours went quickly, and we need to look at the details of that. Would it be appropriate if you ask for a letter of intents from each of these parties, and then that could be reviewed in a closed session or executive session? And then council, would it be appropriate for those members of PHURAC to sign a NDA or a confidentiality agreement with the first party that presented, to keep the name confidential if that's the appropriate method, in order for them to be able to share that in their letter of intent?
I would have to look into that. I'm not sure, given that this is a public body. But I can look into that. But I do think it would make sense to potentially, we can't do it now. We have to stick with our agenda and what's been noticed. But potentially in the future, once you've all had a chance to look at it, have another executive session and potentially review material submitted by them in that. And in an executive session, such materials could be collected again afterwards and not be risked to be distributed.
Thank you. To clarify, we would not be able to go into an executive session again in this meeting.
Correct. We do have to stick to the agenda.
Okay. Very good. Eric, thank you for that recommendation. Is there a potential motion attached with that? Or is it just a direction?
I guess it's when you want to get together again, if that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you need another motion. We're gonna make
and
decision.
our instructions to the folks who had presentations tonight would be to provide a letter of intent. Is that necessary?
I would think if we said we were going to have executive session in 3 weeks where we're going to review these, could they provide additional information for us to review in those executive sessions?
Yes. So you guys decide to keep the applications open for consideration and allow the applicants to submit additional materials.
Rafa?
I'm just thinking about holidays, respect to everyone's time we presented this evening and wanting to get info back to them as soon as we can. I'm not sure 3 weeks lands right before Thanksgiving. We push that.
3 weeks ago, 3 weeks from now is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
Normal PHURAC's in 2 weeks from today. On the 20th.
for that, and I believe Daniel left before the part of the letter of intent, so do need to be notified. I think he said the end of next week is when he could have a site plan by, so that should give him plenty of time, give us time to review.
Yes, I'll just note that if we're planning on having a meeting longer than 2 hours on that particular day, we have Parks and Rec that starts at 6. So if you needed more time, I'd suggest scheduling earlier than 4.
I think we've received the meat of what we need, and personally, I'm going to spend time reviewing it prior to the meeting.
November 20th.
So we're going to do November 20th, 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Okay.
That'll be our next meeting.
And the only thing would be on it,
And
2 things on the execs would be an exec session and then a recommendation.
Yep, absolutely. And I know that I know that some of you probably thought that we were going to be making a decision or recommendation today. And it's really important to me, and I think it's important to this advisory committee that we make very well-informed decisions. And I can speak for myself. I care a lot about this community, and I appreciate all of you caring as well and bringing your ideas to the table. Comments from our executive director.
No, I wanted to talk a little bit about some interaction I've had with So Ready and ODOT and things kind of future looking at working with their new director at So Ready, and we're discussing some economic development tools, which obviously PHURA is one of our major things tools that we can provide in terms of sustaining and encouraging investment in our community. So, but a lot more going with that. It's just an ongoing dialogue, and that's the only thing I was going to mention. ODOT, same kind of thing. Looking at the Highway 99, somebody mentioned entranceway. It's a true entranceway into our community, so we're excited about that. But there's also some opportunities there as well between PH3 and PH5 to look at those areas, not necessarily that are currently in the urban renewal, but maybe in the future, looking at that kind of an idea. So that was it.
Thank you.
Anybody else had any questions on that, let me know.
Any other comments?
I just want to clarify for getting information for the medical facility on how about or who the doctor is. How are we going about that? If we're getting that information at the next meeting, executive session, then obviously we have to kind of think on our feet. It sounds like in a letter, we need to do some digging to see if we can. So I just wanted for their sake and ours, so be clear about when we can expect that.
So there's two potential options. We could do an executive session where they appear like we've done with the brokers by Zoom or some electronic means and give information that way. That would remain in the executive session. Additionally, they could provide materials to staff that are not provided prior to executive session. They'd have to be handed out during executive session and then returned at the end of it. So those are kind of the two options to give confidential information.
Clarification. So what if we made those documents available, and if somebody wants to come up and look at them ahead of the meeting, is that a possibility, or is that?
If they're provided not in executive session, they become public record. So it would have to be provided in executive session and collected during executive session to remain confidential.
So no opportunity for somebody to come and review it as an individual.
I mean, I suppose individual members could reach out to them directly and talk about it, but if it's given into the hands of the city to then come and then it becomes a public record. So if we're talking about confidentiality wise, the two options are the ones I described. Sorry.
No, you're good. And just to clarify, we're going to be in executive session in 2-ish weeks. The material that they provide for us to review in executive session could be given to Rosa, held for executive session. So it's not public information, just like their letter of intent would not be public information. It doesn't get distributed among us prior to staff releasing it to us in executive session, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha.
It would be
Thank you.
exempt from the public records.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Yeah. With that, unless there's any further comments, we are going to adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.